Hey, welcome to part two of the lead gen framework for Facebook ads. I'm excited, and I'm really excited now because I think the sound is actually working. I just did this a few minutes ago, and technical problem, but not to fret. I'm here to help you out today. So remember, we talked about in part one. If you watch that on Facebook live, then great, or perhaps on my podcast, Jan Ragnerud podcast, or even on YouTube, then great. Hope you had a lot of value. Here's part two. We're going to cover really the very, very important steps to build out that funnel that I talked about. And if you remember, we started with the end in mind. That was the critical sort of new thinking in terms of building that funnel out, asking questions like, what are you actually selling, right? So that was a good thing. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to actually capture that last part, as I said, and we're going to have a number of steps in the sales and marketing engine we're going to cover. We're also going to talk about Facebook and how you can attract that perfect customer, client, or patient to your business. So without further ado, let's dig in. Now, here is that layout and structure, the framework essentially that I showed you in part one, where we started with the end in mind. So we covered all that. Go back and watch or listen to that, if you will. We're going to get right into the second portion, which, I talk about the marketing and sales engine. You want to make this work right out the gate. And the way you do this is by following a series of steps. And we have 5 steps listed here. The first step is you need to develop your ideal customer avatar. That's your message. That's how you speak to your customer, client, or patient. As I said, you want to know what's going on in their head and then address that at that moment in time. And so, what problems are they facing? What pains, what hopes, desires, dreams, etc. This is all about trying to get your demographic, psychographic, and technographics down to create a one-to-one match as much as possible. Number 2 here is you want to make sure that you actually are addressing the client that you want into your business. So you could have a local professional services business, say, and you are actually talking to the customer or client in that case in the right manner. You've sort of covered that. But once it gets time to actually book an appointment or have them come in to visit you at the office, you realize, yeah, they probably are in the lower class of the of the demographic because they don't have the funds to actually hire you for services. So, make sure that you look at this and document it along the way so that you can tune this and optimize and perfect it, because these things will change. Number 3, review the funnel framework. You're going to have several, but this one in specific that we're talking about now, you want to make sure that everything is working. So that means it's tracking. You have the pixel firing for Facebook. You might be using Google Tag Manager, which is a great system from Google to contain all your scripts. It loads fast as well and easy to manage. Don't have to hire your webmaster every time you need to make a change to the website. And make sure that this all matches your elements, your steps in the funnel. So that's very, very important for attracting leads. Number 4 is to follow up with them. And you want to leverage marketing automation, which really here I'm talking about emails and, how you send out emails, what systems you use, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to talk about that later in another podcast, in another presentation. But essentially, you want to be able to confirm receipt, congratulate them. Hey, you're in. Watch for this next email. Here's what to expect, etc. You want to set that expectation for sure. And maybe you have some additional information you want to share with them. So in the example of setting an appointment for a professional services business, for instance, maybe they came in on a Monday and they set the appointment for that Friday. Well, is there silence between those days? Or do you actually have a small little cute system that allows you to provide value? And when I say cute, I'm saying cute as in functional. That's what I really mean. Well, then you should. And you must. Number 5 is you also don't want to just sit on one strategy. So I talk about Facebook ads here. Also make sure that you're using organic posts out there. And we're talking about Facebook today. And so we want to make sure that we have other videos, content, posts, information, education, infotainment, if you will. That's just a fancy term for not making it boring. And that you're addressing that number 1. Who are you talking to? What do they need? What are they looking for? As a constant reminder, right? And a good way to do this is every time you post something, and I mean, now I'm kind of expanding it into the, universe of social, whether it's LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, etc. what's my goal here? Why am I posting this? And if you constantly ask this and ask, what's the next step, the expectation, then great. And make sure you track this in analytics so that you can point to, end of month reports. You can show exactly where the traffic came from, how they converted, and how they stepped through the funnel. So that's very important. By the way, a great book here to have as a reference guide and an inspiration is from Michael Masterson, Ready, Fire, Aim. I put that on here as well. And you obviously can get that book, but also I believe that's available on Audible. So let's get into this targeting mechanism over here in terms of finding audiences for Facebook that you can go after. I'm going to start at number 4 and go to 1 here. And that's because we want to talk about the hot audiences, people who are already willing, more available to buy or to engage with you versus the cold where they may not have heard about you. And by the way, there's a book by Eugene Schwartz, Breakthrough Advertising, which describes this perfectly. And I think it's $100 to buy it. It's an older book from the 60s, I believe, but it's a master guide for this type of work. So not sure if you know this, but inside Facebook, you could absolutely grab your buyers list or your subscriber list, email list that is, and simply grab the emails, nothing more, upload it to Facebook, and it will hash the values. It's a secure transaction. You don't have to worry about it. They don't actually keep those at Facebook. They just simply match it. It's called CRM matching. And by the way, Google has something very similar for remarketing in parlance of Google, retargeting Facebook. Just get it uploaded and segmented by buyers and subscribers. Number 3 here is website visitors. If you are brand new, you won't have a lot of data here. But if you are with Facebook, you can actually get what's called a pixel out there. I've sort of referenced that before. Put it on all your web pages out there, and it will start generating values, tying into Facebook to allow you to build custom audiences, which is really a silent email list that you can build ads on and attract traffic from a much more targeted segment from your demographics. And number 2, fans targeting. Anybody who's engaged with your business page, your fan page, essentially, likes, comments, shares, any engagement, which is really obviously a much warmer audience. But then here we have the cold one, and that's the final one, which is broad interest targeting. This could be a weekend alone just talking about how to best utilize this. But I'm just right now covering some of the bases here for you to think about. Okay, if I'm going at this sort of brand new, or even I have something but I want to enhance it, what are my steps? Well, first thing is you want to make sure to start with the end in mind. So let me go back on camera here and find out what you're selling. Step through from back to front. Start mapping that out, start tracking it, make sure that you have your lead engine, or your sales and marketing engine set up through the 1 through 5. Get that book that I mentioned and start thinking about what audiences do I have available right now? Well, gosh darn it, we have 10,000 people on an email list. What do we do with that? Well, we know what to do now, right? So get that uploaded to Facebook and start positioning ads in front of that audience. And again, segmentation is key here. So if you have lots of buyers already, that's a pattern that you can leverage right away. But don't forget subscribers. I mean, that is absolutely valuable as can be. And so that's basically it for now. That is part 2 of the lead generation framework for Facebook ads. And I hope you ask any questions from this. I'm really here to help you. So if you're coming to this live on Facebook, out on YouTube's, or on my podcast, feel free. And of course, go straight to chaosmap.com. You probably have seen it right smack on the screen here. That's just more information for you. That's our blog. And also an ability to set up an appointment if you so choose. I'd love to talk to you. Anyway, I'll talk to you later and have a great day, evening, or night. Thank you.